Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and the Dakar Rally came to an end last week. Unfortunately, I've been very ill again, and I've literally, since the start of December, I've spent most of my time laid up on the sofa trying not to cry. I've had a virus, I've had a stomach bug, had really bad toothache over Christmas and New Year, and now I've had this cold, I guess. It's not that bad, but it has knocked me on my arse once again. And so it's delayed everything. I am working on the part 3 of the best Brabham drivers ever video. I've got a one race wonder I've started, but I honestly haven't really felt like recording anything. Even doing that Formula Regional Oceania preview, that was kind of rushed. It took me like 3 days to do that 6-minute video because I was just having to stop constantly and lie down. But I am catching up, and Dakar is something I wanted to talk about because I was going to cover it more, but things came up. I did other things instead, and when I did want to cover it, I wasn't well. But Carlos Sainz, what a driver he is. It's been a fantastic career. Honestly, if he stopped, we could look back and say, what a fantastic career. But I don't think he will stop because he clearly just loves doing this sort of thing. 4 wins in the Dakar now with 4 different manufacturers. I did say an Audi would win. I did call Matthias Ekstrom, but we'll forget about that. So, brilliant result for Carlos Sainz. Super happy for him. The top 10 was full of Toyotas, but we did almost get a Sebastian Loeb versus Carlos Sainz battle for the win, which would have been nice because obviously Carlos Sainz retired just as Sebastian Loeb was really hitting his stride in the WRC. Unfortunately, the Bahrain team have had quite a few issues. They had a lot of issues last year. Less so this year, and Loeb did a fantastic job, but it didn't work out for them in the end, and we did sort of lose out on a fight towards the last few days. Carlos Sainz didn't actually win a single stage, which shows you the best way to win a Dakar is just be consistent. And I think the biggest loser here was al-attiyah. He was out fairly early on. I can't remember what day it was, but him moving over to the Pro Drive Bahrain car looked like a bit of a struggle, especially as Toyotas really dominated the top 10 in the end, so it must be pretty galling for him to see the Toyotas do so well. But the Bahrain Pro Extreme, whatever it's called, it's coming along. It did better this year than it did last year, and if al-attiyah sticks to it, he could really help develop that car. I think him and Loeb is one hell of a team on the Dakar. Loeb, I do hope he wins it one day. I think he deserves it. I think he's put in some really good performances in that Bahrain car, and this year he was fantastic and really unlucky to miss out. And it's interesting to see other cars in that category. The Century team, their 2-wheel drive entries, they were pretty cool looking. And you had some other ones. Minis are in there still. Fords are becoming more prominent. M Sport are really seeming to put their money behind it now and get stuck in, which is nice to see. And it's an interesting category. It's a shame Audi are bowing out, but obviously they are moving to Formula 1. That probably costs quite a lot to maintain all these different racing divisions. So it makes sense that they are going to drop the Dakar, sadly. As for all the other categories, I didn't call it a single winner, but I did call that most of the people I chose to win finished second. I said Ross Branch would win the bikes, and he wasn't a million miles off. I think it was like an hour and a half or something, but he was behind Ricky Brabec, who wins again, who I didn't really give a shout out to, but I did say the Monster Honda team would be one of the teams to beat, so I was kind of right. The trucks, Alex Laprais finished second when I said he'd win, but he lost out to another Czech driver. Trucks are interesting because obviously Kamaz aren't there, and it does sort of seem like these teams are taking advantage of the fact there's no Russian competitors who dominate this category for so long. But when you think Kamaz are going to come back and these teams have had a few years development on them, might make a difference. It might make the trucks a really interesting fight in the future. Buggies, honestly, Cristina Gutierrez won. That's great for her, but honestly, I struggle to pay attention to the buggies. There's different. You got the S3s and the S4s, and there's different drivers. The Goxel family were dominating this, but they got disqualified for something to do with their clutches were illegal. So that's a shame because Eric Goxel, young man, drove fantastically. He was leading by miles, and I think he probably would have won it if he hadn't crashed or broken down. So it's still a great result for Cristina Gutierrez. I'm not going to take that away from her, but that was a it was kind of a tainted class. And the quads, again, I said Alexandre Giroud, and he finished second. But the quads were very, very close, but there's very few quads taking part this year. They do need to sort of shake that class up, because all but one entry was a Yamaha. They need some more quad manufacturers in there and mix it up a bit, and a bigger class. So, I mean, not taking away anything from the winners or the drivers in the quad class, but it's a very small field. Other than that, it was a really good Dakar. I enjoyed it very, very much. The coverage this year was far better than it was last year. I still have issues with it. Watching the hour-long highlights on Discovery Plus, they take up a lot of time. They keep doing these portraits of Dakar, or the history of Dakar, and they're showing different bits. They're doing interviews with drivers, but it's like they'd have 4 or 5 of them in each episode, and they're about 5 minutes each. I mean, if you've got ad breaks as well, you're losing 25 minutes to these segments, and then probably another 10 minutes to ad breaks, and then you've got another sort of maybe almost 10 minutes of interviews on the day. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for actual action over the dunes, which is what we're really there to see. What I would prefer is maybe have small amounts of these. You could have a couple in each one, but you could somehow put them on your YouTube channel and then send people there. I know the TV want all the content, but you can still use it to say, look, Dakar, we're on social media, YouTube account, you'll see all these great history things, these portraits, these interviews. People will flock to see them on YouTube, but interrupting your broadcast with them when you're not actually showing that much of the action that's going on, it's a little bit frustrating at times. The classics and the Mission 1000 classes, they were sort of like swapping in and out. Didn't really get to see a whole lot of them. In fact, I actually had to look up who won the classics, because they didn't actually say. It was one of the trucks, whatever. But I would have been interested in seeing that. Oh, no, I think it was the Toyota, actually. I think one of the trucks won the Mission 1000 class. But they did do like portraits and bits and bobs highlighting the classics and this future class, but it wasn't very much, and we weren't very well informed of what was going on in that class. And sometimes, even like the trucks or the quads or the buggies, it's skipped over so quickly because they're making room for all these other segments. It's a bit frustrating. Obviously, I'm following it on the website, so I kind of knew who was where, but I was watching bits first and then checking it. So it was sort of what I was seeing them show didn't necessarily correlate to what I was looking at, and it was a bit confusing, and you sort of just have to work things out in your own brain. And as I said, it would just be nice to see more action over the dunes, which is what we're all here to see. Honestly though, I think they need to make more use of drones, which is a great technology for this sort of thing. Rally Raid is obviously very difficult to record because it's over such a huge expanse. You've got 500 competitors. Who are you going to record? You've got a couple of helicopters, probably a few cameras on stage, and then onboard cameras. But you're going to miss stuff. But I think drones can fill in the gaps. I think in the future, that's going to be a big part of the coverage of these rally raids, and it could actually make it a much more spectator-friendly sport, because I think rally raids do suffer, I think, from the sort of being so big. It's difficult for casual fans to get your heads around. Honestly, even sometimes, like, it wasn't Dakar, I think it was the Rally de Maroc, or one of the other rallies in the World Rally Raid Championship. The coverage of it was so bad, it was almost unwatchable. And it was, like, even editing wise, I could edit it better. And I'm not a great video editor, you may have noticed. But the coverage was absolutely dreadful. You can make a bigger deal out of the World Rally Raid Championship if you just, A, marketed it right, actually showed people how to watch it, because it can be quite difficult sometimes, but also make that coverage watchable would be a good start. And these other rallies, there's one next month in the United Arab Emirates. I think most people probably wouldn't even know it's on, even if they just finished watching the Dakar. But it is. And I'm sure there'll be highlights on the YouTube channel that'll be like 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long. It should be better. There should be made clear how you can watch it, whatever they can, because rally raiding is really fun to watch. It's interesting. It's highly technical. There's a lot of great different technologies on show. There's a lot of different classes. There's something for everyone. and it's also a grueling, tough challenge, which is really good television for a spectator. But they don't really show it right. They never have. And it's something that really does need improving. Most importantly of all, stop calling it the Dakar Rally. It has nothing to do with Dakar anymore. And I said this last year, just give it some generic name, the Rally Raider Champions or something, if you're not sure it's going to be in Saudi Arabia for all time forward. You can call this big rally to keep the history, just call it Rally Raider Champions, whatever. But don't call it Dakar. It's pointless. It just annoys me. And it's not that important, I know, but honestly, it's just a simple thing with branding. I think it would actually do the whole thing a favour, and it'd probably bring more eyes in to give it a new name, sort of give it a new fresh coat of paint. I honestly think there is a big audience out there for Rally Raid that it hasn't tapped into yet, but I think it will have its day. I think technology is such an important part of it that manufacturers are going to keep turning up for it. There's probably more manufacturers taking part in rally raiding than any other motorsport category. There's loads of them in all the classes. So it has importance for motorsport fans and the world. And if you really want to test these new technologies to breaking point, hydrogen, electric, whatever, the Dakar Rally raids, they're perfect for that. It is really the most grueling way to test these technologies. So the Dakar Rally is important, the World Rally Raid Championship is important. It just needs to be fun to watch. Not always guaranteed with rally raiding, and that's usually down to the coverage. It could be a lot better. So they are just my thoughts. Hopefully I'll get better soon and I can start pumping out videos again. Honestly, I do hope to get the last part of the Brabham video out this week. Probably a One Race Wonders and probably something else as well. If I'm feeling up to it, I do feel a bit better today, so it should be done. So with that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everyone who has recently, by the way. Leave your thoughts down below. How would you improve the Dakar Rally? How would you promote the World Rally Raid Championship? How would you improve it? Just throw some ideas out there. Maybe someone will listen. Maybe you'll get a job out of it from whoever's organising these things. Thank you very much for watching and have a good one.